Wow, that's a lot, Chief.
This Town of Adams Board of Selectmen's meeting is now in session, Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. First item on the agenda is Pledge Allegiance. Could everyone please stand and join us in reciting the Pledge Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and the agenda that was posted had three sets. The first two, item A, June 29th, 2022, regular meeting, and B, July 20th, 2022, regular meeting. Those were approved at the last board's meeting. No action will be taken on those. For C, which is August 3rd, 2022, regular board meeting, what is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion the board waive a reading of minutes and approve them as provided for August 3rd, 2022.
Motion by Rick, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine. Any discussion, omissions, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous decision. Next, public comment. Is there anyone who would like to address the Board of Selectmen on any item that is not on this evening's agenda? Sure, Chief.
Everyone. So, Board of Selectmen, thank you so much for me coming up during public comment. I want to apologize, one, because Sergeant Malloy is actually on vacation, and two, again, to Sergeant Malloy for lying to her as to why she's coming here. So, to begin, Sergeant Malloy, Donna, has been a part of the community for her entire life. In 1992, she began her career with Adams as a reserve. Now, all of this I had to do. You tell me if I'm wrong on any of it. So, as a reserve officer in 1992. In 1997, Donna was ratified and hired as the first full-time female police officer in Adams history. In June, Donna marked 30 years serving with the town of Adams. We are lucky in this profession to work 30 years, period. But to work 30 years with the same department speaks volumes. I can't say enough about the loyalty, the professionalism that I have seen out of Sergeant Malloy, and I'm sure she has done it for 30 years. Short and sweet, I just wanted to acknowledge this tremendous occasion for 3 decades of service to the people of Adams, the Adams Police Department. Make no mistake, Donna isn't leaving me yet, but 3 decades is something to celebrate. So, with that, Sergeant Malloy, we have got you something to commemorate the occasion, and I cleaned it up, so I'm going to try not to get fingerprints on it.
Oh, look at that.
So, once again, Board of Selectmen, thank you for your time. Sergeant Malloy, thank you. I have been here a little over a year and a half. You have been here for 30 years. But I appreciate it in the time that I've been here. So, and I think everyone else does too. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Speech. Thank you again. That's up to you.
Not much to say, much of anything, but I do. I love my town. I love my community. I became an officer to help people, that was what I wanted to do, and that was my mission. I go out there and I try to teach the younger officers too that our mission is to protect and to serve as best as we can. As frugal as it may be with some tasks, it goes a long way with the community. And I grew up in town, lived here my whole life, went to school here, so I had a lot of connections in the community, and that's why I stayed here. And I've had a lot of people ask me why I stayed, why did I go through all this? And I said, because I care. I care, and that's right from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I should note, too, that this is my second time working with Sergeant Malloy. The first time was I was an assistant DA, and Donna was a patrol officer at the time, and now here I am, town administrator, and Donna's a supervisor in the department. So you never know how life brings you back around.
Okay, moving
Taking a photo?
continuing on with the agenda. We'll just wait 1 second.
I don't think you're going to need me for these three. I'm just going to go out and congratulate her.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay, we're still on a public comment. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on. Old business, anything under old business? Nothing. New business, I'm going to hand it over to Vice Chair Hoyt.
Sure. So the first item under new business is a public entertainment license application for St. John Paul II Parish for the Polish picnic that's coming up on Saturday, September 11th. It's a standard one-day entertainment license because there will be bands, music, etc. But they've complied with everything.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the public entertainment license application for Father Paul Norman of the St. John Paul II Parish for the Polish picnic scheduled for Saturday, September 11th, 2022.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous.
Item B is also a public entertainment license application. This one is for the Fall Run, scheduled for September 17th. This also is a pretty standard entertainment license because as Mike, when he came before us, told us that there would be some bands as part of the Fall Run. And they have complied with all of the necessary paperwork.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the public entertainment license application for Mike Stour for the Fall Run Corporation event on September 17th, 2022 at Bowfield.
Motion by Christine,
I'll say.
and we have a second by Rick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none, unanimous.
Item C is a permit to place signs on public way. The folks from the Fall Run have asked to post or to put up signs in 7 locations. Memorial Park, the Roundabout, Town Hall Lawn, the Library Lawn, Visitor Center Lawn, Hoosick Street, Traffic Circle, Center Street, and Commercial Street Traffic Island. So the application is in front of everyone.
What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the placement of the Fall Run signs in the 7 locations listed.
Motion by Rick. Do we have a second?
I will second for discussion, and I would be looking to take the roundabout off of the list, because I didn't think that we were allowing signs in the roundabout.
I don't know if we have. I think the smaller signs are probably okay, but anything there usually creates some type of risk, visibility issue. And when Mr. Stour came in, he wasn't necessarily committed to any particular location just yet, so I don't think that'll be an issue if you want to pull that off.
Okay.
Do you want to restate your motion without the roundabout?
I leave it up for discussion.
Or for discussion?
Well, if it's been our policy not to allow signs on that, I'll amend my motion to exclude the roundabout.
Motion by Rick, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Christine, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Unanimous decision. Next on the agenda is item D, under new business, is the designation of ARPA funds to purchase replacement vehicles for wastewater treatment plant and animal control. Jay.
Thank you, Chairman Duval. As the board knows, the town of Adams is due to receive a grand total of approximately $2.3 million of ARPA federal funds that the town is allowed to use for any general spending purposes. The board had a variety of occasions to discuss that and approve the use of it. We have approximately $1.8 million committed so far. Just for context, I'll review for the public and for the board and what we've been spending the money on so far. We have engineering design improvements for the wastewater treatment plant. That went to our design firm, Ty & Bond. The balance of the engineering work that I'll talk about is all regarding the Greylock Glen Resort project. VHB, an engineering firm for our water tank utilities design. Wright Pierce, our engineering firm that's doing all of our water system work for fire protection at the Glen, as well as drinking water. The Adams Fire District, we've provided them $37,000 in order to review our engineering work to ensure that our system complies and will work with their water system. And the construction oversight that we anticipate having to pay for, which the project is funded from our EDA grant that we received from the Department of Commerce, Federal Department of Commerce, but the town is responsible for paying the engineer to oversee the construction work once that bid is awarded. So that's approximately $800,000 there. We discussed our library boiler previously back in the winter, along with registry of deeds. So we have that money allocated for as well out of our ARPA allotment, and an upgrade to the internet service of the wastewater treatment plant, which is still on an archaic T1 line. We have $35,000 allocated there for that. And all this was discussed previously with the board. At this point tonight, I come before you just to receive your designation and endorsement for the following. In usual fashion, we can never predict when some of these things will fail. And recently, one of two vehicles assigned to wastewater treatment plant failed. They're using an ex-Ford Crown Victoria police cruiser for some of their services. The car will no longer pass inspection. It's unsafe to operate. And the vehicle that they have, which I assigned when I took over in 2019, they have a second-hand 2004, 2005 Ford one-ton pickup truck that they use to plow around the property as well and go back and forth to the different pump stations. The Ford Crown Victoria, because it's no longer going to be serviceable, we had to look for a new vehicle. We identified a 2009 Ford Escape with 60,000 miles for $7,200 that we'd like to purchase to replace the Crown Victoria. We were able to identify two other vehicles at the same time when we were looking for the replacement vehicle that we thought to be proactive while the vehicles were available and for an inexpensive cost. We've identified a 2012 Ford F-350 utility body with a hydraulic liftgate 4x4, 130,000 miles for $16,500 that we're going to purchase in order to replace the pickup truck that wastewater has. That'll put their fleet into a state of good repair. The vehicles are in good condition. They're from the Mid-Atlantic states. They've passed their inspection as well, and we anticipate that they'll serve us quite a period of time. And the last vehicle, I asked the chief to come back in and speak about it if need be, but I know that he's out front. The current animal control officer uses also a former police cruiser, a Ford Crown Victoria. And recently, Kim, our animal control officer, had to remove approximately 40 cats from a residence and was transporting those animals inside the enclosed vehicle to Pittsfield. And although this has been an issue now for the past 3 years, it really came to a head in recent months where the vehicle is just not appropriate for the functions of an animal control officer. Other communities utilize an open vehicle or a sport utility vehicle for that function. It's just time to make an effort to upgrade the vehicle to the proper vehicle so that Kim can do her job well and safe. And we're also exploring the opportunity for shared services. If we decide to go with a shared services model, it probably is more important to have the proper vehicle for that function. So there was one dealer in upstate New York. They received all of these vehicles in. They're in excellent condition. And once again, we were lucky and we identified a 2013 Ford F-150 4x4 with extended cab and a covered bed with 130,000 miles. And we'd like to increase the price of that vehicle, not just for the purchase vehicle, but also to put in the back the proper cage and equipment so that Kim can have that. So if you were to approve tonight the use of the funds for it, we would spend $40,350 for the purchase of those 3 vehicles. That would leave us a balance of approximately $566,939 undetermined to be used at a future date of ARPA funds. The reason why we want to do this now is simply because vehicles, municipal severe service vehicles, are becoming very hard to find. As we discussed back in the winter when we needed to purchase a 1-ton dump truck, the lead time for brand new vehicles is approximately 12 to 18 months from the time that the vehicle is ordered. The way that we work is that in order to replace any of these vehicles that I spoke about tonight, we normally would have to budget for them using our capital programming. In order to purchase a brand new vehicle, we would probably have to budget $80,000 to $90,000 for any of these in order to at least purchase a vehicle. If we did all 3 in one shot using capital of next year, we would probably chew up the majority of the $500,000 we usually spend on capital. So we thought now, while we could purchase good, used, solid vehicles that have significant life left in them, this was the more cost-effective way of doing that. If we use the ARPA funds, this means we will not have to use our capital funds in any amount at all next year in order to purchase any vehicles, freeing up whatever money we have available and designate for that purpose to other items that we have to do. So in analyzing it, we thought this was the best solution to this. There are kind of solutions that have been lingering for a while, waiting for the right opportunity and the right funding to do it, and we struck at the right time. So I would just ask the board tonight for the permission to designate $40,350 to cover the purchase of those 3 vehicles. And I can answer any questions about ARPA or anything else you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Good, good. Christine?
Jay, you threw a lot of numbers, so that would leave the ARPA funds at what number?
Uncommitted balance of ARPA after expenditure would be $566,939, give or take. Now, some of those funds that we've designated so far are rounded in liberal numbers. So the likelihood that as some of these projects conclude, for example, once the boilers are installed, we may get 10 grand, 5 grand back from some of those projects, et cetera. So as we go through ARPA, that number kind of floats a little bit, but it's still over $500,000 that we have not yet allocated. And we're keeping it towards all significant one-time infrastructure costs. That's why I thought the purchase of the trucks would also be a good purchase, because it's a one-time funding source, one-time purchase.
Well, the ARPA funds originally had strict requirements on what you could purchase, right? We went through that, a few purchases, and got through it. But what's the status now? It seems like you can buy vehicles and...
So if the board were to recall, what we did was the federal government, the U.S. Treasury guidelines allowed municipalities to take what was called a one-time revenue loss provision up to $10 million. If the executive body of the community said yes to that, that means that up to $10 million of ARPA funds can be spent on any general government expenses, including vehicles, including normal routine costs. So this body accepted that, adopted that provision, which now has allowed us to expand the use of ARPA funds. So we were able to do library boiler, registry of deeds building, old town hall boiler, purchase these vehicles, upgrade the internet line to the wastewater treatment plant. Had we not adopted that provision, and had that provision not been allowed for by U.S. Treasury, we would have been stuck essentially using it only on infrastructure such as water or sewer, which we have plenty of that work to do as well. But when we adopted it, it opened it up, and I just think this is the right time to purchase these vehicles and execute while we can. I don't anticipate us having good luck in the future buying vehicles for our fleet brand new. And the used truck market is heating up because of that need. In fact, it's my understanding the city of Albany bought 30 of these vehicles for their own fleet for the same issues that we're undergoing.
I agree, it's time that the animal control officer has at least a pickup truck to perform the responsibilities of that position, instead of a enclosed car, really. That's good.
And that vehicle is only $11,500, and we're asking for $15,000 in order to put the cage in the back that the chief priced out for us. So I think that's, considering what the cost could be of a new vehicle, this is, for the taxpayer, this is not hitting them at all, and it's a smart use of our money. The lift gate in the utility body, if anyone knows Walt, our chief mechanic at the wastewater treatment plant, when he was told that we were looking at a utility body with a lift gate, he says he's been hoping for one of those vehicles for years. For people that don't know, we have 3 wastewater pumping stations that are in 2 different parts of the town, and every day the staff has to go inspect those stations. And we have pump and equipment in those that need to be repaired and replaced, et cetera, and this vehicle will help our staff do that with the hydraulic lift gate on the back.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to designate $40,350 of ARPA funds to purchase replacement vehicles for wastewater treatment plant and animal control.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Pro Adams, presentation on Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism Directional Wayfinding Signage Grant Project.
Yeah.
Ray Gargan.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, by way of introduction, at one of our July meetings, I had mentioned under announcements and good of the order that there were new brochures that were in town and around the county, and mentioned a little bit of the work that was being done by Pro Adams, and had invited them to come to a meeting when they were ready to launch their website and talk about some of the wayfinding signage that they have been working on as well. So I know Erin Mucci is here. She was the tech help over there as co-chair of Pro Adams, and I think Ray Gargan is known to all of us, so thank you for
very
being here.
much. Yeah, so we have, actually not just one grant, but 2 grants involved here. And I'm just here to brief you on the status of this. We're calling this a campaign. It really is kind of a multimedia campaign. Many of the pieces of that are active now, and others will be active shortly.
We do that a lot around here, Roy.
Do you? This didn't work, Aaron.
Try it. I think if maybe if you just,
Oh, that, okay,
Yeah.
cool, okay.
sorry, if you do like one little click on the right.
That's good. The genesis of this idea started with the RRP, Rapid Recovery Planning Program. And something that we all know for forever is that Berkshire County has a great tourism economy, but Adams doesn't get much of that. But there is maybe less known, we do get tourists coming to the town of Adams. We get 100,000 plus, I've heard as many as 200,000 people at the top of the mountain, which is of course, half an hour drive. But the rail trail is a is a huge thing. A lot of those people, most of those people are local, but a lot of them are not. There's like a statewide rail trail phenomenon going on, and our trail is right at the top of the list. So Berkshire Scenic Railroad last year had about 10,000 visitors. According to Glenn Deal at last week's Pro Adams meeting, they're looking at least 20% increase this year. And Greylock Glen, we don't know, we don't have a count, but it's certainly busy up there, and a lot of out-of-state plates are seen up there. So, I mean, the concept was, the idea is that we're not really sharing well in that economy because people might come to Adams or neighboring attractions, but not come into town to spend money, to dine, or there's no place to stay, really. So the idea was to try to leverage some of those attractions that we do have. Okay. So here are the elements. Currently running are Google search and display ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and One Berkshire ads. The Google ads, Pro Adams has a grant. We're officially a Google for Nonprofits entity. We get to spend up to $10,000 a month in free Google ads. It's hard to get, because it's pay per click, you know? So it's hard to get that kind of money. But, you know, for years, I've actually been running some ads for the Scenic Railroad, and it's doing well, you know? We've, you know, over time, you know, we've gotten some real value out of that. We know how many people go to the, you know, click on to get tickets button. So those are in place. The rack cards, which are kind of the mini version of the brochure, are being distributed countywide by Berkshire Brochures in all the brochure racks around the county. The full brochure is available a little bit in town, and we'll see that it'll be getting out in other locations as well. Kind of a key element is that the fourth bullet there. Signage and literature boxes along the trail, at Adams Station, at Greylock Glen, and if we can, up at the summit. And everything is tied together with this QR code that you see on the back of the brochure and on the rack card. People can scan that and they'll come to a landing page on the new Explore Adams website, which launched recently, which we can show you now, I guess. How do we do that, Aaron? Click, somebody knows what they're doing.
There it is.
Okay, cool. So this is the new website. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. So we have these 6 categories, main things: our attractions, our events calendar, our cultural entities, our dining, shopping, and trails. As much as possible, we are trying to link in and use the existing brand of the town, some elements of the brand of the town, which is to position the town of Adams as a hub for outdoor recreation in the Berkshires. So much of this work is about that. What did I just do? There, okay. So the trails are a big thing, the events are a big thing, the attractions are often about outdoor recreation. So this is the homepage. If you are interested in, finding a place to eat after your hike at Greylock Glen, you can get your camera out, the camera in your smartphone, scan the QR code, and you'll get a page that looks like this. You click on the dining, and what is it, lunch? It takes you to the page which lists all our places to eat, gives you their telephone numbers. If you click on, sorry, I'm kind of shaky here. If you click on that, we'll take you to Google and give you driving directions to, whatever, AJ's, or whoever you click on. So most of this is all implemented. There's a few features that we haven't finished yet. The events is looking pretty good. It's getting full. Can't see where I am. We got it. So, this is up to date and running, so. So you can click on any one of these, you can click on and get more details about it. So that's the website. I can go back to this. How do I make this full screen? I'm sorry, can't see it. You do it.
Definitely an awkward angle.
Yeah.
Aaron, you can sit right here if you want to, so you're closer.
Yeah, where my mouse go? Oh, there we go. I found it. Here we are.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, the signage. There will be 4 informational signs which include a brochure literature box. 2 along the trail, one at Park Street right across the street here by Coffee Liberation, one up at Russell Field, one at Adams Station. We want to do one on Summer Street someplace, but where exactly that is still up in the air. I will say also, all the signage is being done at Whitco Signs, Brent Whitney at Whitco Signs, and I'm pleased to say that the largest single line item in our budget is staying right here in town at Whitco Signs. So, and he's been a great partner. I mean, when I sort of visualized this stuff, I was thinking a flat aluminum sign, kind of like the historical signs that are out there. And, Brent said, well, I like the way this looks. Let's make them 3D. So he's engineering this thing where the edge is, you can see the relief. This is his 3D rendering of it. So parts like the word Adams will be routed out of metal and suspended off the surface of the red background. He's thinking about, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but the last he said he was going to route out the Explorer's Welcome so it's 3D. There's the map, which is basically a locator map showing some showing you are here sign sort of thing, and then directing you to some other kind of key locations in town. That has a frame around it. The yellow circles, those are like carriage bolts, so it's pretty cool.
And the color palette, Ray, matches the historical signs.
Yeah, well, it's the town, those are the town
Right,
colors.
right.
Also, the Armory Corps sign and train stations.
Yep. Yep. As do the fonts. The fonts are also that. And we did, we've used this, you see it on the brochure, the the little bear. We sort of downplayed the bear because some people in town don't like the bear. And we use the slogan, hike it, bike it, see it, ski it. So those brand elements have been existing in town for, I don't know, more than 10 years, 10, 12 years, something like that. So, all right.
Do you have a estimated completion date for the signs?
Actually, the next signs, I think he's going to have them all fabricated and ready to go next week,
Oh, really? That's good.
and installation the following week. These are a little bit delayed because most of the funding for this came through the redo grant, which got paid much later, which meant he got his down payment on it much later, so he didn't like order materials and, the supply chain issues affected actually two things. It affected the brochures and the metal for the signs. Believe it or not, there's a shortage of printing paper. Yeah, so,
Jay, do we have to approve the signs, location? Just checking.
They went through the permitting
ZBA.
process.
It's already been taken care of, ZBA, good.
yeah.
Thank you.
I failed to mention that, sorry.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad they went through.
Yep.
So these signs, they're 2x4. We call them the large signs, but they're not that big, I mean, they're pretty demure. So in addition to those 4 signs, there's going to be 6 of these smaller version of it. It doesn't have the locator map, it's just got the QR code. There will be, you don't see they're mounted on a signpost, a 4x4 cedar post,
Who's going to install those?
Whitco.
Okay, good. The sign company, great.
Yep. A single compartment brochure holder for these guys will be on the signpost. So 5 of those signs will be at Greylock Glen. Each one has some individual texts, like this is a sign that if we get permission to put it up at the top, this is what it would be. The sign at, the Gould, near the Gould Trailhead would say, after your adventure on Gould Trail, blah, blah, blah. So they're individualized to an extent. These are quite small, they're only 12 by 19, a little bit bigger than 11, 17 sheet of paper. For the most part, not for the most part, I think that 3 of these signs that will be at Greylock Glen can be affixed to already existing structures. The other 2, I think, need their own signpost. And putting them on the existing structure just helps keep the clutter down, so. So we still haven't gotten permission. Is there any update on that from Summit?
No.
Yeah.
We have an initial denial, but we're going to try again.
Please keep trying again, because we need to have the town's name on top of that mountain.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's been some confusion with our friends.
They did offer to have us put our brochures in the visitor center on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, in Lanesboro.
In Lanesboro. But right, we would like to have a little bit of Adams up there, so we'll keep
You
working
mean
on
in
it.
Adams, a little bit of Adams,
Yeah.
in Adams?
Yeah.
That you can only get through to Lanesboro and
So, yeah,
northbound?
we've not given up. We'll do some more.
The other possibility is Bascom Lodge.
Yes, we may also try to reach out to Bascom Lodge and see if they would allow us to put it on their east property.
Or inside. Could be on the wall inside. So the last part of the signage is to rehab and extend the existing wayfinding signs in town. This right here is a picture of the one that is on the corner of Columbia and Hoosick Street by Cheese. It's largely invisible. They're not very functional. The The other is across the street, a little bit farther north on the, by the church property up there. There's a second one, and the third one is down by McDonald's. They are not legible. They are kind of yellowed vinyl stick-on letters. The red is not the official color. It's not the correct color. And in many cases, the wording is just a little awkward and the lettering is too small. So what we're doing is, one of these signs, the one on Columbia Street, will be able to be reused. So it'll just be repainted and new lettering will be put on. We're going to use reflective mylar lettering, which is what is used on street signs so they're legible at night. And the letters, as you can see, that these top two images are on scale, so the lettering is much bigger. And the wording is simplified. And, you know, we just took out the Summer Street area thing. Actually worked with George LeMaitre on this part of this project, so that was good. And we wanted to extend some things. So it's like, okay, there's the museums that go down this way. Okay, where did the museums go? Well, the Thunderbolt Ski Museum you can see from the road. But how do you get to Susan B. Anthony Museum? So we need a couple signs like this, one on East Street and one, actually two on Hoosick Street, one right past the Visitor Center and then one up on East Hoosick Street. When you get to the top of East Hoosick Street, there's this, should be this sign, which directs them to take a right. Similarly, Grelick Glen and the Quaker Meeting House, you know. And we talked about, well, do we want to put a wayfinding sign up at the Rotary, you know, to direct them up Friend Street to get to Grelick Glen? And we decided not to because we want people to come in and see our lovely downtown. So at least they know that, okay, I'm going for this hike. Well, there's this cool little town down here, you know? No.
Keep Friend Street traffic to the locals, is that what you're saying? Those who know?
Yeah. So that's the funding. It comes to $65,000. And we're spending almost pretty much all of it. I would say also that the Travel and Tourism Recovery Grant was a really, really competitive grant. Everybody, this is new money in the tourism world in the state, and everybody was looking for a piece of it. And I want to tip my hat to our representative, John Barrett, who went and did some personal lobbying, and I think effectively so. So anyway, here's some of the people. Aaron and I have worked closely on pretty much every aspect of this. Eamon has been great to work with, absolutely great, very practical and, you know, gets things done. Very good. Brent Whitney, I've already said how cool he is. Our web developer and we have a specialist that we've hired to improve the Google ads, the search ads, because I'm not really good at that. It's very technical. Mark Mulloy and Wiley Goodman at Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, they're great. Wiley was the one who alerted me to the Mott grant. We had about a week, maybe 10 days to put the grant together.
Deadline.
Yeah, except for their
Getting it and spending it.
well, we had to wait like, you know, a month and a half for them to make their announcement before we
It
could
did
do
take a
it.
month and a half to read the applications, and then they gave us 3 months to spend all of them
Right.
and do all the projects.
Yeah. That's it. I'm done. Any questions?
Okay, questions from the board?
Just comment, I've already seen the ads on Facebook all the time.
Have you? Oh, good.
Excellent.
Great.
Christine?
No, I just wanted to thank Pro Adams for coming forward. Because they had worked with One Berkshire, which is my employer, I was familiar with the project. And I know it was reported out about a zoning board meeting, and they've been working with Eamon all along. I just felt that since this is signage that's going to be throughout the town, brochures that are talking about the town and everything that's in it, that this would be a really great overview. And I'm so appreciative that you were able to make the time to come and talk about this. And I think it's really wonderful, the brochure and what you've done for our local business community. And I know that you sent this out to the businesses that are featured to let them know that their information is here. And I know that you've opened up the website to allow for people to post their events and to send you content so that you keep it up to date. And I think that it's been a very collaborative process. I commend all of you. And it was less than 3 months, I think, that you had to complete all of the work. And you've done so, and you've done so well. So thank you very much for this. And to my colleagues and everybody in the room, if you can grab a couple of brochures, stick them in a bag or in your car and just hand them to people
I
when
got
you
a
see
whole
them.
box of them right
See?
here, if you grab them.
Ray will give you some. They come in handy when there are state officials that happen to be in the county, and you get to sit in a room and you say, would you like some information about Adams? It's a really nice piece to hand to people, so please pick some up.
Just another little comment. I mean, obviously, not every business in town is listed here. You know, I mean, we would have to have, a bigger brochure. Nor is everything listed on the website. Doesn't mean it can't be. For the most part, we are focusing on, or trying to focus on the mission of Pro Adams, which is to bring visitors into town.
Mm-hmm.
Visitors don't need driveway repair, so that's sort of but it's all judgment calls, and, so we're open to any suggestions. Okay.
There is a free business directory listing
Yes,
on the
there is.
town's website, so if there is a business that is watching and would like to be listed on the town's website, they can contact the town clerk. So thanks for letting me plug that for Haley.
Okay. Very good.
Jay, anything?
I just want to comment that, projects like this are really critical to the town. They're just like the historical signs that we had last year, there was a lot of buzz about those. I see people every day looking at them. And really, without the involvement of groups like Pro Adams, the funding and the advocacy that we get from some of these external agencies, frankly, partners, One Berkshire, BRPC, they're all partners. They're all people that we work with. We would not be able to accomplish this. The town of Adams has 3 people in its community development department, and 4 if you include Donna, who frankly already retired and is, retained on as a consultant. We have ongoing right now some of the largest and most expensive projects that this town has ever undertaken, and we're doing so simultaneously. That's a lot of work for us. So for having partners who care about the community as much as town staff does and this board does, I just want to say thank you, because this is great work. I sit here and I don't see my name up there, and that's good, because it means other people did something, and Eamon works directly for me in positive feedback, and that's great. It shows that we have community partners, and we're able to get these things done. So I just, from the town administrator, thank you, Ray and Aaron and Pro Adams, for all that you do. It's a great project. I know we get a lot of feedback from people that visit, even though I'm not directly involved anymore. I know a lot of people that still ride the tourist train, and they still come up to me and say, every time you come up to ride, there's something new in Adams, and it's great. You're making a difference, and this community is ever so slowly evolving into the community that we know it can become, and part of that is because of the efforts that you folks make, so thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is, took care of those, took care of that. We are down to,
You could close your laptop if you wanted to. You can, it's up to you.
all right,
If you wanted to gather your stuff.
Erin, would you mind sending those slides to me when you think of it? If you would be willing to do so?
I do have a question, Ray. It indicates on your information here that Sam Adams, who our town is named after, was a patriot, of course, but he was also a brewer. That's a true statement, huh?
It is. It is. He wasn't that good of a one from what I understand, from what Eugene tells me,
Mr.
but,
Cook there is not lying.
which is why Shannon.
Okay, because we do have a picture of Sam Adams to our right here, and also Susan B. Anthony in the back of the room, so I was just curious if there was a picture with him doing some brewing. We'd be glad to add the picture.
John doesn't like that picture, for the record. He's looking to replace it, and he'd like one showing the other occupation of Sam.
Wow. I don't know if John wanted that on the record. Just FYI.
Well, the reason I state that is that, as you have stated on this, which is very good wording, that in regards to Susan B. Anthony, relentless suffragist, we want to keep that feisty tradition alive. And, the town of Adams, if you read the history of the town of Adams, hundreds of years ago, we were a pretty rough and rowdy crowd here. Anyways, we'll leave that to folklore. Next. We have some good news to discuss. Howland Ave resurfacing work update. Now, this is for all you social media fans.
That was a good layup, Coach.
Go Facebook
That was
Live.
good. That was good. I'm not sure I can swing at that. I am pleased to announce tonight that Howland Avenue will be resurfaced, and it will be resurfaced by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. We are grateful that our partners at Mass DOT, especially District 1 Highway Director Francisca Hemming, who's been a great partner for this, and advocacy from our state rep, John Barrett, we have been placed on the fiscal year 23, which we are in now, municipal roadway, state numbered highway system pavement improvement funding. We don't know the exact number. We do know that the scope is essentially just north of the roundabout, all the way up the city line by Bountifair. All 4 lanes will be resurfaced. The methodology of the resurfacing is yet to be determined. Mass DOT engineers need to come out, work with our DPW, do core samples, and determine the condition of the roadway that's underneath the surface. And the idea is to get us at least all the way through until we can reduce the road size and execute our master plan for that road, which folks know we are undertaking. Our engineers are studying, collecting public feedback about it, and tweaking that design. So in order to address the issues with Howland Avenue, it's really a 2-prong approach. The first approach that we've looked at is how can we immediately address the poor surface condition of the roadway. That is a 4-lane mile, 45-mile-an-hour roadway that is beyond the capabilities of our DPW. We are aware of its condition. DPW is painfully aware of its condition, but I can assure the taxpayers of this community that if we undertook repairing that roadway surface, we would bankrupt this town. So we looked for other ways, and because of our partnership with Mass DOT, I can announce tonight that that roadway will be resurfaced and likely to be resurfaced by the end of this calendar year before winter. So we are anticipating fall resurfacing. All 4 lanes will be resurfaced, and I'm able to provide more information once Mass DOT continues to take a few more steps forward and determines the methodology. But keep your fingers crossed, folks. We're going to take care of it. In terms of VHB, our final design that we have is still being worked on. That project will eventually be funded through the TIP, the TIP, or Transportation Improvement Program, which is part of the MPO, the Municipal Planning Organization, which is managed by BRPC. I'll continue to go all night with an acronyms if we can, of which Chairman Duval is our Adams representative of. The idea with that is to do the same thing that we do with Commercial Street, which is spend Chapter 90, hard-earned gifted Chapter 90 dollars, I should say, on engineering, eventually come up with a plan, address the roadway, and the town will continue to maintain it, and we'll be able to maintain it in a state of good repair that's actually capable of our local resources to do. So I think Howland Avenue We spent a lot of time strategizing, we spent a lot of time advocating, and as I said, those folks, I think, really came through for Adams. And we'll monitor the project and we'll keep the public informed. But I think this is great news for the town, and it's not going to affect any dollars on our end at all. And I think twice now tonight, 3 times actually, if you include the truck purchases, the town of Adams is in a position right now where we're able to take on a lot of significant projects that are not affected by our real estate tax. These are not tax dollars, our tax dollars, local tax dollars being spent. We're taking advantage of grant programs, we're taking advantage of a lot of advocacy and banging on people's doors, and the state, our legislative delegation, is coming through for us. And we're taking advantage of it and trying to take care of some projects and some issues here that we otherwise wouldn't have the resources to do. So, once again, we're taking advantage of this and we're going to take care of these problems.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for the town administrator?
I can't wait until it's resurfaced in the fall and what the comments will be then about the delay of traffic because it's being resurfaced. Sorry, I couldn't help but giggle.
Don't worry, there's always something that.
No, that's really good news. Thanks.
Okay, just to mention, Christine is also on the MPO, the Metropolitan
that's right.
Planning Organization. She's a representative for the Select Board, the Berkshire County Select Board. The final item on the new business is town staffing update. Jay?
Thank you, John. So we have a lot of work going on in the town of Adams, and we can't get that work done without the proper number of people. We still don't have enough staff really to take care of everything that we have. That's why it does take us a little while to get things done, but we're moving ahead. However, we have currently 5 positions posted right now that I wanted to just brief the board and the public on. First of all, we have posted a shared human resources director. When I say shared, that means we will share that position with the town of Williamstown and City of North Adams. That is funded by a community compact state grant that we earned last year. It'll fully fund the position for 1 year, and then we are contractually obligated to fund it locally among the 3 communities for a second year. That job is presently posted in a variety of different locations. If you're watching at home and know of anybody that might be interested in applying, please look up on the town webpage and you'll see how to apply. The town of Adams is the lead in managing that project. The second position that we have posted is our town planner position. This is a position that the town has had sporadically on and off over the years, and we're now again at the point where we need to fill this position. It's been called junior planner, senior planner in the past. This time we're calling it a town planner, and it's a position that will be full-time. It was funded by the Community Development Block Grant Program that the board endorsed, I believe back in March, I believe we had that hearing. We're now at the point where we're advertising for the position. That also is posted, and that job will primarily deal with some of our zoning bylaws, helping some of our new businesses, Roadmap to Ribbon Cutting program. That position will address that. So we hope to be able to find the right person to work with Eamon and Becky and Isaiah in our community development office to do that. The other position we have is a part-time 19-hour-a-week position, assistant building inspector, local inspector. As everybody does know, we've created a new department here in the town called the Facilities Department. It is responsible for specifically operating and maintaining and identifying capital needs for our town-owned buildings in particular. Mr. Garner was volunteered, I guess you could say, to be the director of that position, but in doing so, Jerry has taken on a lot of other obligations, and we feel that having a part-time building inspector will help him get through the number of building permits that we have. Adams is busy. Whether a person's putting in a fence, a new pool, or new businesses that are opening up, or new housing, new developers coming, that somehow involves the Inspectional Services Department, and we need the assistance. I can tell you right now it's going to be hard to recruit it, but again, we're making the effort to reach out through channels and see if we can get a qualified person for that role. We're also looking for a transfer station attendant. This is a per diem position. Kyle and Ray are 2 custodians who have been handling that role at the transfer station, at least as long as I've been town administrator, for the past 3.5 years or so. We need to have a per diem transfer station attendant we need to get both custodians full-time into the facilities, into the buildings to handle routine maintenance projects. So if we're able to have a per diem transfer station attendant, much like other transfer stations operate, we'll be able to relieve the custodians of that duty and have them work 5 full days, 8 hours a day for building maintenance. So if anyone's interested in that position, that's also eligible for senior tax work-off and veterans tax work-off credit for that position. And the last position has been posted now for well over a year, and that's at our wastewater treatment plant. We need an assistant mechanic to work with Walt, our chief mechanic and operations supervisor, and assist him in maintaining the pump systems, electrical systems, and other mechanical MEP systems over at the plant. It's been hard to recruit, so we're making an effort once again to try to fill that position, learn the ropes. Most of these positions are all benefited. You work with a great team of people, so please reach out if you have any questions. Other than that, we have one position posted internally. As we know, as the board knows, we transferred Sarah Leisure from the town clerk office and appointed her as code enforcement officer. So that position is vacant and internally posted now. And we'll see what happens in the next few weeks with that position. That may go external as well, depending upon who applies internally. So right now we have 5 open positions and otherwise staffed. DPW is fully staffed and the police department is fully staffed.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay. All right, that's it for new business this evening. What next is subcommittee and liaison reports. Christine?
I think on licensing, just to report that Red's Viking Pub, their license was approved by the ABCC, and there is a license here for the board to sign so that we can get that in their hands this week. So if you could stay afterwards, that'd be great.
Okay. Rick?
I have nothing.
Just to mention one thing, that the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission's yearly meeting will be held in September, and that will be with the Berkshire County Board of Selectmen Association. We have invited some distinguished guests, and we hope they do accept, but hopefully all the board, selectmen members can attend, but more information coming soon. And is that hot off the press?
It's for announcements.
Okay. All right, next is announcements and good of the order. Yes, and I just happen to have something here. The outdoor center, yes, the outdoor center, groundbreaking. We've been really trying to really set a date where we could have both the governor, lieutenant governor, Congressman Neal, trying to get everyone together that's in the political arena is very difficult, as you may imagine. So what we did was we decided on August 30th, which is a Tuesday at 10 a.m., August 30th, Tuesday, 10 a.m., the governor will be attending a groundbreaking for the visitor center up at the outdoor center up at the Great Lock Glen. And then, in conjunction with Representative Neal, we will also have another ceremony when he's available in the near future. Okay? Okay, so exciting things happening. Okay? All right, Christine, you got anything?
I have just 3 items to announce. The Movies Under the Stars wraps up this Friday, the 19th, with Clifford the Big Red Dog. So we encourage people to go and see that movie. And next Tuesday, we wrap up the concert series. So that's Tuesday, the 23rd, with Mr. Doubtfire performing, and that one's at 6:30 p.m. And I want to thank the folks at the events committee for putting together that summer program of Movies Under the Stars and the concerts here in Adams. And then, because our town clerk is not here, and this is our last televised meeting, I feel that she would want us to remind people that the election day for the primary is Tuesday, September 6th. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and a reminder that the polling location is the Memorial Building.
Okay. Rick?
nothing.
Okay, just one thing I should have mentioned it when she was here, Officer Malloy, I did do, what I heard yesterday, I think it was, that we were going to, the chief was going to be doing something for her, and I did some research myself, and there was over 2,000 hits in the transcript alone, because the transcript used to report every single police call, and they would have the officers' names and the individuals' names, and so I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I did see where, as the chief said, that she was the first female officer for the town of Adams, and she did spend 5 years as a reservist and put her time in and waited until an open position. And there was an article, 1995, in the transcript, just to end this, is that she indicated to her kindergarten teacher, I believe it was, that she's always wanted to be a police officer for the town of Adams. But she did mention she wanted to be a police lady, was the words that she said in the transcript. So her commitment to this community is unwavering, and we thank her and thank her for her service, and I'm glad she's going to continue supporting our town. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Rick, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christina, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.